December 2nd, 2025, and I'd like to call the board meeting of the Village of Sugar Grove to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could have roll call, please, Tracy.
President Stovall.
Here.
Trustee Lundy.
Here.
Trustee Bonnie. Trustee Michaels.
Here.
Trustee Special.
Here.
Trustee London. Here. Trustee Roscoe.
Thank you. All right, public hearing this evening, we have none. No proclamations or presentations, no appointments. Do we have the airport report, Trustee Special?
No report.
All right. We have public comment on scheduled action items. On the consent agenda this evening, we have approval of the November 18th, 2025 Village Board meeting minutes, approval of the vouchers, an ordinance amending the Motor Vehicle and Traffic Title 6, Chapter 3, Section 3, 1, and 2, subsection A, and adding subsections B and C, and general business items, a resolution, PSA, HR Green for construction engineering, Wheeler Road resurfacing, KK Com project, a resolution, a PSA for HR Green for construction engineering, Dugan Road resurfacing, KCOM project, resolution authorizing execution of an agreement with the Illinois Public Works Mutual Aid Network, a resolution authorizing execution of an agreement with PF Ultra Cleaning Services for custodial services, and a resolution to approve the designation of signatories for the Village of Sugar Grove. Would anyone like to remove an item from the consent agenda?
Nobody signed up for public comment on the items scheduled for business, but maybe someone in the crowd.
All right, hearing none, we will close public comment at this time. Would anyone like to remove an item from the consent agenda? All right, is there a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
We have a first from Trustee Michaels. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second from Trustee London. If we could have a roll call, please, Tracy.
Trustee Michaels.
Aye.
Trustee London. Aye. Trustee Lundy.
Aye.
Trustee Special.
Aye.
The ayes have it and the consent agenda is approved. We'll now move on to general business. Item A is a resolution, PSA, HR Green for construction engineering, Wheeler Road resurfacing, KCOM project. Is there a motion and a second to discuss and vote on item 11A?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first from Trustee Special. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second from Trustee Michaels. Brad Merkel will be presenting this item.
Good evening. This is just to award the Phase 3 engineering so that we can get this project that we've been working on for about a year now to the April 2026 letting through IDOT. So both of these two Phase 3 are the same with HR Green for the resurfacing. It's a great opportunity for the funding, 75-25 this year. So
Brad, it's sort of confusing, but it's going for Esker Drive east towards 47, just
Yes.
700 feet
Yes.
forward. Okay.
stop probably right at where we did the, we're going to stay out of the IDOT right away, where we did the intersection improvements there.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. No, because this year we did the other section of it, so this will complete it.
Oh,
So,
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? If we could have roll call, please, Tracy.
Trustee Special.
Aye.
Trustee Michaels.
aye.
Trustee Lundy. Aye. Trustee London. Aye.
The ayes have it in the resolution approving the PSA HR Green for construction engineering Wheeler Road resurfacing KCOM project is approved. We'll move on to 11B, a resolution PSA HR Green for construction engineering Dugan Road resurfacing KCOM project. Is there a motion and a second to vote on discuss and vote on item 11B?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first from Trustee Special. Is there a second?
A second.
And a second from Trustee Michaels. Brad will also be
Same thing,
presenting
just
this
different road. This is Dugan Road, our entire limits excluding the roundabout. So from our southern limits, just south of Dugan Woods to just north of Wheeler Road. So,
Is there any discussion on this item? All right, if we could have roll call, please, Tracy.
Trustee Special?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee Lundy, Trustee London? Aye.
The ayes have it, and the resolution PSA HR Green for construction engineering, Dugan Road resurfacing K-Com project is approved. We'll move on
Quick,
to,
can I ask,
yes.
Brad? Were these scheduled in our road program?
Yeah, they're part of the road program, but we were, as these get, you have to go through the, initial phase 1 engineering, then phase 2.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they get placed, sometimes they don't. So we were planning on them. And we got them moved up actually a year
1 year?
because they had some additional funding available.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
But it was just a year, not multiple?
I think it was just a year, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sorry about that.
Yep, no problem.
All right, moving on to item 11C, a resolution authorizing the execution of agreement with the Illinois Public Works Mutual Aid Network. Is there a motion and a second to discuss and vote on item 11C?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first from trustee Special. Is there a second?
Make that second.
And a second from trustee Linden. Brad Merkel will also be presenting this item.
So the Illinois Public Works Mutual Aid Network program is something that obviously my board report was founded in 2009. The village has been a member of this since 2017. It's a great opportunity for us to work with other municipalities when we have tornadoes. Like how Montgomery came and helped us when we had the tornado. So it just enables us to do that, and it's just, they dispatch, so there's a little bit of admin fee, so it's $100 a year to be a member of it. And then my Public Works Superintendent, Chris Lemke, is actually on the board with them, so he's very active in it. So the last time that we renewed this was 2017 though, so it was brought to our attention to need to be updated. And it's, a lot of contacts have changed.
Well, they rewrote the whole thing.
Yeah, it's
I
all
mean,
new.
they had attorneys and like everything, the language changed and the laws and stuff like that. So it was system-wide.
Yes.
Is Chris on a state board, or is it the?
It's just the
District.
local guy, the local authority here.
Yeah.
$100 seems very reasonable. Is that the only charge associated?
Yeah.
Is there any other discussion on this item? All right, see if we could have roll call, please, Tracy.
Trustee Special?
Aye.
Trustee London? Aye. Trustee Lundy, Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
The ayes have it, and the resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement with the Illinois Public Works Mutual Aid Network is approved. We'll now move on to item D, a resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement with PF Ultra Cleaning Services for custodial services. Is there a motion and a second to discuss and vote on item 11D?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion from trustee Special. Is there a second?
I just make that second.
And a second from trustee Lindy. Brad Merkel will be presenting this item as well.
So approximately 3 years ago, we had to seek new custodial services because the current custodian retired. So at that time, we only received, went out to bid, and we only received one bid, so we were kind of forced to take it. They're a company out of the suburbs, so staff thought it'd be a good time to review the pricing and stuff like that. So Officer Alcatraz had an associate that had a cleaning company, coincidentally in Sugar Grove, so we reached out to them, and as you can see, it had huge savings, so a third of the price. So I think it's best that we end our contract with total facility maintenance and get into contract with PF Ultra.
A savings of $30,000 is awesome. Thank you very much for referring that. Is there any other discussion on this item?
Do we have to make a resolution to cancel the other contract?
No.
No? Okay. That was it.
Is this equivalent coverage?
Yeah, actually, it's a little more in-depth. There's more services offered, so yeah.
So you're getting more services at a significant discount.
And they're local, which.
And they're in the industrial park just down the road from us, so yeah.
Well, that's why you've had a
Go ahead.
good itemized services here.
Glad we have a local company that's able to participate.
All right, if we could have roll call, please, Tracy.
Trustee Special?
Aye.
Trustee Lundy,
Aye.
Trustee London?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
The ayes have it, and a resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement with PF Ultra Cleaning Services for custodial services is approved. We'll move on to item E, a resolution to approve the designation of signatories for the Village of Sugar Grove. Is there a motion and a second to discuss item 11E?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first from Trustee London. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll second that motion.
And a second from Trustee Lundy. Scott Koppel will be presenting this item.
Thank you. So the banks would like a resolution. We also want to have record of it. Resolution for the signatories on the different bank accounts. As we've had our new treasurer and finance director, Karen John, start, we need to go ahead and update that list. Traditionally, the list has always been the administrator, the finance director, and the village president. We had to reduce the list when Matt Anastasia left, and we're asking for the approvals tonight. So we've already started the process with the banks, but of course, nothing has been finalized until these are done, and we'll send those over and get her set up with accounts on various accounts.
Is there any discussion on this item? All right, if we could have a roll call, please, Tracy.
Trustee London?
Aye.
Trustee Lundy.
Aye.
Trustee Special?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
The ayes have it, and a resolution to approve the designation of signatories for the Village of Sugar Grove is approved. We'll now move on to item 12, public comment. We have 2 people on the sign-up sheet. Jared Piper, would you like to step up to the podium?
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Jared Piper, and this is in regards to the village press release and social media post guidelines. I wrote something on Facebook before, and I realized that not everybody has it, so I'm just going to reiterate what I said on there before. When elected trustees start targeting communications instead of confronting the content of it, it's because they fear the truth, not misinformation. Let's not forget that the village president's statement in question wasn't reckless or unauthorized. It was reviewed and approved by legal counsel. That means it met every standard of accuracy and compliance. So if trustees are suddenly pushing communication restrictions, the problem isn't about protecting the village image, it's about protecting their own. This is a dangerous precedent. Once trustees start silencing the flow of factual information, every resident loses. Whether you support or oppose the Crown project, the TIF deal, or any other major issue, censorship erodes trust faster than any single policy ever could. Transparency is the cornerstone of democracy. When leadership chooses secrecy over honesty, when political convenience overrides community engagement, that's when corruption takes root. If our trustees can't stand behind open communication, they have no business sitting behind the desk. We deserve leaders who explain their decisions, not those who hide behind policies designed to muzzle those who will. So in regards to that is that, like what happened last year, we will remove trustees that we do not find fit, that doesn't represent the public. We shocked everybody with the new trustees and the president this last time. Nobody is safe. And if, it comes out more that trustees want to try to hide information or have other agendas, or if they find that they're still trying to represent an ex-president, it'll come out, it'll be clear. She might not be able to say it, but I can say it, and I have enough people that listen. Because, like I said, we made a huge difference this last election. It can happen again, nobody's safe. And there's tons of FOIAs to prove it otherwise. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. We now have Lou Lundy.
Lou Lundy, Sugar Grove. My standard disclaimer, my opinions are my own, not necessarily the same as Trustee Lundy's. During your campaign, Sue, you and I had a lot of discussions on Facebook. And one of the things that I said was my main concern was how few meetings you had attended. My concern was that as a trustee, I could vote for you because that is a position that is more conducive to learning on the job. But village president wasn't an entry-level position. And there was one interchange that we had in particular that made me really worry about that. I don't know if you remember what it was. There was something you were saying Jen Conan was going to do. And I said, she won't do that. She can try, but she can't do that because that's not a power of the president. And I don't know if you remember what your response was, but it was telling, because your response was, I'd like to see you say that to her face. And I thought that was odd, the way you framed that, because if you had attended more meetings, you would have seen that people said things to Jen Conan's face all the time. It's part of the process. Shawn Michaels can tell you, when he sat in that seat, it wasn't all rainbows and puppy toes. He got pushback all the time too. But what Shawn Michaels and Jen Conan didn't do is they didn't go to social media to drum up all kinds of controversy anytime they got pushback. They didn't play the victim and insist that they were being wronged somehow. Now, in the corporate world, we say feedback is a gift. And when you do, because you are, whether you want to admit it or not, you are new to this role, and you're going to make mistakes. And the way you're going to find out about them is that somebody's going to call you out. That's just part of the process. And there's no reason to be drumming up extra drama on Facebook. And in particular, we're looking at discussion item C. You could have saved Jera a trip. The discussion item C is a nothing burger. Not anywhere near worth all of the drama and all of the concern and all of the worry about you being censored and shut down. That's just not what it's about. So please, feedback is a gift. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. Would anyone else like to speak? Public comment? Amy?
Do I need to give my name and address or anything?
Not your address, no.
If someone can find me. My name is Amy Mills, relatively new resident of Sugar Grove. First meeting. I think I want to say that I did like seeing the Sugar Grove press release on social media, mainly because I've been sitting here searching for it on my phone to find the minutes to the meeting since I was late and didn't get a piece of paper. It was easy to find there. I do agree that there's a lot of drama on social media, which is part of the reason why I don't go look at it too often. But maybe there's some criteria you could put out there, such as you make the post and you close comments. If people want to make comments, maybe we all need to start coming to the meetings more. I think we all need to be involved and participate and support the village. And so that's one reason why I'm here, is I want to support what's going on. I enjoy being in Sugar Grove and just want to help support the community. And my first step was being part of the beautification committee. It's a little step. But anyway, I did like the fact that that was released. I didn't feel that there was anything inappropriate in it. I thought it was just a statement of fact. And again, I think if we cut back on opportunities for people to maybe comment on those things and just let it be a press release, then maybe we can avoid some of the drama that's going on, and maybe more people will come here and feel comfortable speaking a little bit with the group, and you'll have a little bit more interaction. I don't know, just my thoughts. Thanks for letting me come.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak at public comment? Jaden?
Good evening, Jaden Chadda. I think item C, the word guidelines, is just a fancy word for censorship. It makes it not seem so bad. But the moment you propose guidelines on someone's freedom of speech, that's the initial moment when freedom of speech starts eroding. I find it kind of ironic that whatever these guidelines are being proposed after a statement was released by the president that a couple trustees most likely just didn't like. The fact that I've come to these meetings for 2.5 years, and I'd asked the last mayor to live stream the meetings, and that didn't happen the whole entire time, and the excuse was, oh, well, we can invest in some equipment after the renovations are completed at the library, or excuse me, the police department. As you can see now that we have a different person sitting in the mayor's seat, excuse me, village president's seat, the meetings are now being live streamed. So I just think it's ironic that we're proposing these guidelines when we had meetings being held until 1 in the morning, stifling public speech, and now we want to stifle the speech of the village president and anybody else that might want to make a statement. I think it's just, like Lou said, really a nothing burger, but if we treat it like that, then you guys aren't going to get an accurate representation of what the public feels. So it is necessary for people to come up here and discuss. And I think you're going to find out from the public, if you guys proceed to put something on the agenda at the next meeting, that the public will come out full force against it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. Would anyone else like to speak at public comment? All right, hearing none, we will close public comment at this time. We'll move on to discussion items. Item A, e-bikes, scooters, and electric motorcycles. Chief Rollins will present this item.
Good evening. Deputy Chief Alcaraz is going to take over this topic. He's given an assignment and was here to present in front of the board. So,
Good evening. Good evening. I would like to talk to you guys about a topic on whether or not you guys would like to discuss the regulation of e-bikes, e-scooters, and off-the-highway electric motorcycles. There have been some residents that have had some concerns about the operation of these e-vehicles on sidewalks and on the public streets. And we also found out through that it highlighted, their number one concern was that we needed to do a better job on educating our residents on this new mode of transportation, as well as how to navigate this complex litigation, and overall wanting to make the community safe. And so it's written in the laws that municipalities can take up some of these, enact laws, local ordinances that would restrict either the use of these e-bikes, e-scooters, or off-the-highway motorcycles. So what I'm trying to point out is that in January 1st of 2018, the state of Illinois enacted a law that restricted e-bikes and restricted them into 3 different phases. Class 1 was an e-bike which was pedal assist, and it had a maximum speed of 20 miles an hour. Class 2 e-bike was pedal assist, as well as a throttle control that would allow a maximum speed of 20 miles an hour. And Class 1 and Class 2 do not have any age restrictions. Class 3 e-bike has a maximum speed of 28 miles per hour, and the rider or operator needs to be at least 16 years of age. Once again, at least 16 years of age. Until August 9th of 2024, the state of Illinois enacted a law that restricted e-bikes. The low-speed electric scooter. The low-speed electric scooter needed to be at least weigh no more than 100 pounds, maximum speed of 10 miles an hour, and the operator needed to be at least 18 years of age. Once again, at least 18 years of age. None of these low-speed e-scooters, Class 1, Class 2, Class 3 e-bikes are allowed to be operated on a sidewalk and must be operated on the streets. And the reason why this should be a topic of discussion is that think about an urban downtown like the city of Aurora, Batavia, St. Charles, Geneva. The reason why they have these regulations where they're not allowed, according to the state, or per the state, allowed on the sidewalks is because of the right-of-way for the pedestrian traffic. And these towns could limit their use in these urban, high populated areas. Or like if you're a city of Chicago, and you want to allow bikes to be ridden like on sidewalks area around the museum campus in downtown Chicago, you can allow for these things to be operated on. So that's why I think it's important that we discuss, that the village discuss this on what it is we want to do. And some of the options that we should consider, I think, is on whether or not the village wants to take no action on enacting local regulations and just let current state law prevail. Work with the Metro West legislation to introduce a bill downstate in Springfield that will address some of the pitfalls created by some of these local municipalities being able to enact individual municipal legislation. For the village of Sugar Grove to enact a local ordinance that addresses the electric transportation, or any option that the board may find suitable. Because I think it's important that we wait to see what Metro West comes up with. Because if we create something, if we restrict or allow these electric vehicles to be driven on our streets, or they could interfere with the local ordinances by our neighboring communities. So that's one of the pitfalls that I think we should take into consideration and address. I'm open for any questions.
Just before, sorry if you don't mind, so I'm on the legislative committee for Metro West, and one of the things that we've been doing is working with, and some representatives are working on a bill specifically about e-bikes and e-scooters that would be Illinois-wide, that would have some opt-ins and some different restrictions for the communities. So if there's anything you're looking to see, let me know, and then I'll add that feedback to the list. But there have been some issues because we're, as a non-home rule community, there's limits in what we can do. But several home rule communities have implemented different rules. And the issue that the state is having is that there are different rules in many different municipalities, which is all causing even more problems, because you might read in the news, well, I can do this in Schaumburg, but that's not where I live, and I'm in Arlington Heights and what have you, different home rule community, and that's not the rules that apply. So they are working at rules downstate. So if we choose to take action, we may want to wait to see what they come out with. Action was not taken during the veto session. They were pretty busy with transit and everything else, but we're hoping that they will take action in the next session. And again, additional feedback I'll take back to the group, so I appreciate that as well.
I really appreciate you putting this together, and I actually like the format. It's very easy to read and has a lot of the documentation. I did contact King County Forest Preserve to try to figure out what their rules and regulations are. They were for their path, like Gilman Trail, because I'm thinking people are going to be Gilman Trail sidewalk and that kind of thing, to get an idea what we have to deal with. I know that they allow, I believe, they don't allow class 3 on the trails. It was a little unclear on the motorized scooter, not talking about the mobility ones, but the ones the kids ride, and they were supposed to get back with me tomorrow. But I don't know, do you know if they're allowed to have the motorized scooter on like the Gilman Trail?
No.
No, okay.
No. I talked to a sergeant, and he told me that they were not allowed, only class 1 and class 2.
Okay, so I found that, yeah. All right. I think I agree that we need to probably work with trying to get some legislation in Springfield that's more consistent, because if you're riding, I can see a problem, you're riding your e-bike in one municipality and you're allowed there in a certain location, and then you continue on the trail or the sidewalk, and then you don't even realize you crossed the municipality, you can get ticketed. I understand the concern on both sides, so I really appreciate you bringing this up, and it's a tough thing to try to figure out.
And just to clarify, so if we were to pass something right now, the only option we have is to adopt the state ordinance. Could you clarify what the state ordinance is?
So currently, the state law is in place, so the village doesn't have to take any action tonight. So there's restrictions in place that they're not allowed on the sidewalks. They're not allowed on, if you're on an e-scooter, you have to be on a road that's less than 35 miles per hour. So you shouldn't see them on Route 47, shouldn't see them on Galena Boulevard, but they do go out there, and you see high-speed ones that go over that limit anyways too, which haven't been addressed in the law yet. There's still so much that's happened with the means of mode of transportation that we're starting to see scooters at 40-something miles per hour plus. You're seeing the electric motorcycles that are off-roading on the sidewalks out to the parks. Now, we can only control the local jurisdiction roadways. We have no control over HOAs. We do have an agreement with the park district to enforce their ordinances. So, but that's about it. So really, we have restrictions in place that the law allows us through the state to keep them on the roadway, not to be riding on the sidewalk.
Okay.
We're not set up as a community just yet where we have huge downtown areas or resident or a commercial district that you want to prohibit these type of vehicles, in that section of the town, and they just have to stop, walk them, and then when they get outside the district, they can get on their devices and take off again. So that's why it hasn't been brought forward to the board, but we are starting to see a lot of community concern about kids riding their electric motorcycles. And you'll see them from, going 30 miles per hour plus down the road or on the sidewalk. And our best bet is to educate the public and the age requirements, because parents are buying these devices for their kids, not knowing you have to be at what ages?
Well,
We're going to emphasize this again.
for a class 3, you have to be at least 16 years of age. For the e-scooter, and this is a low-speed e-scooter, it's 18 years of age. I mean, you are not required to hold a valid driver's license, you just have to meet the minimum age restriction.
So when you go into the city, or you go into another urban area where you're out on vacation, you see the e-scooters for rent. You just put go up to the device, put your card on it, you can rent it and take it as far as you want to. So, we're not there yet in Sugar Grove, so that's really not hopefully a big concern. But you see double riders on these too, and they're meant for single riders. So there are dangers involved with them. There's, as we said, pitfalls. But as the village board, you have an opportunity, if you so desire, to take it a little bit further by putting restrictions in place of where they should not ride. But right now, unless you have a designated area in Sugar Grove, you don't want to see these devices. That's what we're really here for. If not, we have to make for Metro West, because there is confusion.
You can do education though and post like the state law restrictions. I think that would be helpful to answer.
Yeah.
But I think you did once before as well, but maybe every so often.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the one request that I would have from Metro West, I know that younger riders, there's concerns. You had mentioned a bunch of them. I also have a family member who has a disability and uses one of these devices to get to work. So if Metro West could sort of consider both ends, like we want to keep people safe, but we also don't want to prohibit anyone from being able to ride alone. That's my only request.
Absolutely. I'll include that in
I have some pictures of the different types, and it's very difficult to look at some of these. Like this is a couple examples of a class 1 e-bike. I mean, there's different types. Like the one at the bottom of that one, that light blue one, that one can accommodate for you to carry packages or have an additional riders on there, like for your kids. And it keeps going. But class 2s, I mean, that was just a different example, but any one of those could be a class 1, class 2, or class 3. The only way to really know is to look at the stand on the bicycle, and it'll tell you whether it's a class 1, class 2, or class 3, and the maximum speed limit. And the other requirement for a class 3 is that it needs to have a speedometer on it. And these, and any e-vehicle that you are operating at night, it requires a headlight and a tail light. So But other than that, I mean, you can look at any one of these and not know the difference. This is an example of an e-scooter. I mean, this one has a seat. It has beefier tires, but I mean, it meets the speed requirements and then the weight. And then that's another e-scooter. And then if you keep scrolling down, this is an off-highway e-moto. I mean, it looks like a motorcycle, and the only difference between that and the second picture as well is that they don't have pedals on them; they have pegs. So, and the Illinois Vehicle Code hasn't addressed those or the high-speed e-scooters. They just haven't. So I think we should.
Yeah, and we're all aware that all these devices are class 1, 2, and 3s, as well as the low-speed e-bike, e-scooters, are being retrofitted. So even though they might be stamped as a class 1, 2, or 3, they actually have gone in and made them so that they can go a lot faster. So it's just the dangers that are coming out through different means of transportation.
Obviously, safety is the important thing. We have our community is unusual in one part, that it's dissected by large state highways. You've got 47, 56, 30, and then you do have high-speed county roads like Bliss Road. So we have a lot of dissected areas where it's not that easy to go to one neighborhood to the next without crossing those roads. Is there anything in particular that you are looking of the board at this point to consider?
Well, not, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I mean, it's just more than anything to create awareness so that you guys know some of the residents' concerns, so that you guys aren't blindsided. Like, how come we haven't heard this before? How come the police department hasn't brought this to our attention? So we just want to just educate the board as well as to some of the residents' concerns, and there also are concerns as well, because the last thing we need is for one of our residents to get injured and worse, killed.
So is our general consensus at this time, we just continue to follow the state law and then wait for additional updates and information from Metro West? Is that what
I did have a question. Is there a specific area that you're getting complaints from? Or is it just kind of random, scattered around? Or
You'll see it in every subdivision.
I'm sorry?
We're seeing it in every subdivision. So it's Christmas time. Parents are going to be out there buying these devices for their kids, not knowing.
Timely.
Yes, and some kids have been out there for the last couple of years with these devices prior to the laws going into effect, because no one knew about it or didn't know how to address it. So we're playing catch up. But yeah, it's happening. I'm not aware of any subdivision that we haven't got a complaint.
Interesting. Have we had any accidents, injuries, damage?
No, not that we're aware of that have been reported. Now, if there's personal injuries from someone falling off, we don't get that unless, we get dispatched with a fire department response. But other a minor one to a broken bone, they may go home and have their parents take them to to a hospital or to get medical treatment.
If you find a person under the age of 18 on an e-scooter, do you educate them, take them to their residence?
We have to educate our officers. So we need to make sure that our officers truly understand this, because it's really taken off. Because we're all coming, and we have officers from other communities that have to apply the rules from both communities into place. If there's different local ordinances that apply here. So our biggest one will be the officers, and again, in home. Some communities are making the kids stay there with their bikes, and then they're finding the parents. So when they violate the area that they're not supposed to be in. So.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion?
So you did say you're going to get this up on the website and information out there?
Correct.
So, okay.
Correct, and we'll be going to HOA association meetings and giving presentations as well. So.
That's a good thing.
Okay.
I think we would want to option 2 and work with Metro West to get some legislation in place to try to alleviate some of the pitfalls. So, not necessarily enact our own, but work with Metro West so we can have a system. And what you have there is the state rules.
Yes.
That's up there, this one here?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Love it. So, I love the visual on it.
Yes. Excellent. All
All
right.
right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will now move on to discussion item B, the annual tax levy announcement and continued discussion. Scott Papa will present this item.
Well, I just wanted to continue the discussion from the last meeting. After the discussion of the last meeting, the consensus was to capture the new construction, not the CPI, and staff has began the process of drafting the ordinances for the December 16th, 2025 meeting. Again, if the board chooses to take the higher amount, they can at the meeting because we did announce at the higher number. However, that the documents will be presented in the way that what the consensus came, unless of course there's something different that comes out of the discussion tonight. Also, I have our new finance director, Karen Johns, here, who can answer any additional questions that you may have and is gathering information. She just started yesterday, but she also, so if there's anything else you want to know or related to this, we can prepare that and have it ready for December 16th as well. We have a little bit of extra time. The deadline to get this into the county is by the end of the year. So we will, however the vote goes on the 16th, we will finalize the ordinances, resolutions, and get them over to the county on time. Happy to answer questions.
Welcome, Karen. We'll open discussion at this time. We had one trustee, he's actually not here tonight, but he was in favor of taking a smaller increase every year instead of a potential larger one later, but most of the residents are asking for no increase. What would your insight be?
With the increase that we have to do for the police pension fund, this next year, if we take just the new property, that will increase the general fund revenues by only $2,500, which will not cover the increases in salaries, commodity increases, or health insurance increases.
All right, additional discussion on that, trustee.
So if we don't take the increase, except for on the new properties, we would be able to cover that difference though with some of our surplus, correct?
I haven't looked into all the surplus, but we could dip into fund balances. Also, as a tax capped community, once you don't levy that, you lose that increment forever.
And then, could you, we were hoping you would come today and provide a little more insight about abating. Could you explain how that would work and the benefit of that? Do you recommend that?
So Kane County perceives it differently than other counties I've worked in, but they will not count that as saving that increment for later years. They will just do the final levy for your amount next year. So there is unfortunately not a reason to go that route.
Okay. And do we have the number available today? So we had a larger surplus last year, but after the police station and the larger water main project, there's much less of a surplus because it was earmarked for those, funds were earmarked for those two projects. Do we have the number that is actually in surplus?
So we're projected to have a $50,000 surplus. It's probably, that was the projection of budget. It's likely to be higher than that at the end of the year. Those two projects are capital projects, and one's from the water fund, which is a different revenue source that comes from ratepayers. But on the police station one, and the reason why I brought that up at discussions before, is that when we fully funded that and had some of the add-ons to it, we used up some of our different capital reserve money that we have that is dedicated to purchases pretty far out into the future for vehicle replacements and other capital needs that we have. It's not it's not money that we don't have. We're not borrowing. We're not using money we don't have. But what we should do, or at least in my recommendation, is we should be refunding and putting money towards capital from the general fund more aggressively because of the high cost of the police station and for future work or other future projects that we do have upcoming. And that was why I had said that, is that because if we don't take the tax levy increase, if that's the decision that's made, then we will have a lower transfer to capital as part of the next budget, which is okay. And again, it's not that we're struggling and that we would have a deficit budget necessarily. It's that we would transfer less money to capital, and then that is something we'll have to reckon with the other expenses and the other costs, because that's the natural place to reduce. We had, after the budget updates, right before the budget was passed, I believe our transfer to capital was up to roughly $330,000. We wouldn't be able to replicate that in the 26-27 budget. It would be a lower transfer. But again, that's the push and pull and the decision the board need to make. We unfortunately don't have all of the numbers that we'll have when we come back for the budget discussions and to present that at the time. We can work on at the next meeting how we're looking and the projected budget surplus. We can have that presented at the 16th, but we don't have that ready for tonight.
Trustees, are you still wanting to only do the new construction increase, given that information?
I have a question. Scott, were you able to look at the interest income category? Karen, it's account 01003811. It's interest income and investments. We had budgeted $8,688, and we're already showing actual of $38,646. So, it's basically $30,000, or probably 1% of our adjustment. So I think we'll have a larger surplus based on that amount alone.
So that will help us this year, but the largest reason for our interest income increase is because we have the money that we're using now for the police station in investments that are either expired or expiring, that we will not be able to reinvest those funds because we will be using our cash reserves on the police station. So our interest income in the next 5 years will be much lower than it has been in the past few, because we will have a lot less money in play. And that's going to be so that is a reoccurring funding source in the future. Is not going to be nearly as good as it was, at least right now. And that's one of the reasons that we also took into consideration when Matt and I made the recommendation about the tax increase, because we are going to have considerably less interest income in the future.
Could you clarify, if you happen to know, the 2.69% increase, how much would that be?
I think I have the number.
Even approximately.
It's
$4. I think it was in.
Do you mean on the taxpayer or the amount of money that would be added?
The amount of money that would be added to the budget.
60.
It's $53,999 is the aggregate of the,
Okay.
and the CPI is roughly $44,313.
Okay.
I'm sorry. The CPI is the $53,999. The new construction is $44,313.
Okay.
So backing out the part that would be going to police pension, that would be about a $61,000 increase to the general fund.
Okay. And then we have no information yet, I'm assuming, on like Starbucks, the newer businesses, how much?
Yeah, so sales tax rolls in 3 months late.
Okay.
So we don't know what that is. I mean, imagine it's going to be healthy and it will be as part of our revenues that we expect for next year. And we didn't include any Starbucks money in this year's budget. I'm a very, very conservative estimator in budgets. And until a business is open and actually operating, we won't put money in budget because you never know.
And then, so if the 2.69% increase from CPI is not taken, you still don't, you believe in your short time that you've been here. From what you've seen so far, you do not think next year's budget would be at a deficit? You think it'll be workable?
I haven't looked that far into
Okay,
it and would
it's
need to get back to you
understandable.
on that.
Okay.
Day two.
How about you?
I mean,
Same question.
we'll present a balanced budget. It's just a matter of how much money are we putting away for future projects,
Okay.
future capital projects, and also other things we potentially would have to cut. But we will present a balanced budget. That I promise we will. Barring some type of, 99%, because some type of major thing I don't see coming.
Would you introduce Karen to
Oh,
everybody?
she was at the last meeting as well. We get some new members of the community-wide here. This is Karen Johns, our new finance director and treasurer. She started yesterday, so I tried to help her out with some of the answers as she dives in and starts learning the information presented here as well. I also wanted to provide a little bit of context. We're not trying to call out police too much about the pension thing, but we do have a police pension levy and a general fund levy, and they come from the same pile of money. And as police pension increases, general fund decreases. Then we have a total amount of money we can levy, and we have to capture all of that in that amount. And we're told by the auditors, you have to levy this much for police pension. We don't really have a choice. So that naturally then moves general fund down, however much that one goes up. And that's, so when Karen mentions that, it's not that we don't also pay pension towards myself and the other village employees. It's not just trying to call out police, it's just that it is very, it has to happen in that way, and we can't choose to do it differently, and then it draws from the other levy. So I wanted to just provide a little context on why that's being brought up.
Yes, there was legislation done to make the police pension funds fully funded by year 2035. So currently, that pension fund is sitting around 58% funded. So we're making up payments for previous years.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion?
My biggest concern is the amount of taxes that we're already paying. And property taxes here are high. I think I mentioned this last time. So I think whatever we do, we have to balance it, is that people aren't going to be very happy with higher, significant tax bills, especially since as property values go up, it also affects that expenditure for taxes. So I think we have to be very, cautious and respectful in this regard. But yet again, I doubt that any of our residents would like us to be cutting programs and things that we have for our community. So it's a tough balancing act too.
I always like to remind the percentage of the property tax bill that goes to the village is about 5%. So if we took that increase for a $400,000 house market value, it would be approximately $15 increase next year out of a tax bill of a little over $8,000.
Is there any other discussion? Thank you very much, Karen. All right, we will now move on to item C, village press release and social media post guidelines. Scott Coppel will present this item.
Well, thank you. This was requested to be included on the agenda by Trustee Lindy and Trustee Special. I do want to mention that there are two attachments. Tracy worked on a nice press release format, updated and fitting with the logo we've been using recently. And then I also added our social media policy for context for those that may have it, but with the fact that the trustee asked to have this included, the first email was from Trustee Lindy. I imagine she has some insights to provide.
Yes, thank you. I requested this item to be added to the agenda for discussion. If you'd like to know what exactly my wording was to Scott was, I would like to add the next agenda, a discussion item of guidelines for sending village press releases and social media posts. The recent post release was sent without board input and reflected a tone that I found inappropriate and unprofessional. When all the board members' names are on a release and/or it is posted on the official village social media site or website, the village board needs to have input on the messages that are not routine communications. I requested this as a discussion item so that all board members can discuss this together. I know this is not what President Stillwell wanted, and, but I think it's the most efficient way and transparent way for this topic is to have it as a discussion item in the public. My reason for this discussion is not about the content of the recent press release. It is about a press release that has the village board names on it or an official statement from the village. A press release with our names on it, every one of our board members' names on it, is an official statement that comes from the village board. I'm not referring to routine village statements, but more substantial statements or press releases, especially if it concerns substantial or controversial subjects in our community. I'm not asking that anyone's personal comments be to my standard of professionalism or appropriateness. I'm not asking that. But if it does have my name on it, I do ask that. I think other trustees should have a say on press releases that have their name on it as well. And I have held this position no matter who the village president is. I brought this same concern up in July 16th, 2024 board meeting regarding the village statement about Crown Development. And the board agreed with me. As this has come up again with the new board, I thought a guideline discussion was appropriate. If you wish to discuss the content of the press release, that's a different discussion item. And I don't have objections to that. But this discussion item is not about that. It never was. It is simply about guidelines on releasing a statement or press release without board input that has our name on it. So that is why I brought this up. If it has our name on it, the board, I think, should have some say in it. That is all it's about.
Okay, so when you say that's all it is about, I had already offered to amend the format of the press release, and you have received that by email. Not only that, if that was all it was about, you could have asked, could you modify future press releases? Instead, I was told, number one, I was told you shouldn't work on Sundays, you should be at home with your daughter.
I never said that.
No, please don't interrupt. I gave you the floor. I have the floor now. 2 trustees brought this up together. I was also told my press release was hate speech and asked to take it down. When that didn't work, I was told my press release made people feel unsafe and asked to take it down. When that didn't work, I was asked to take it down for 2 other reasons. I can't remember. One, something about ICE raids, because people could read the press release and then target trustees like they do for ICE raids. Like, the number of reasons that I was asked to take that press release down this week were at least 4, and none of them were because your name was on it. The first time I heard that was from Lou. I had already I had already offered to amend the format of that press release, and I will do so again. But when you say the board should have input into press releases, no, a press release can come from a village president. I was elected to speak at some times on behalf of the village. So, you know, it may not be something that you always agree with, but I'm not going to purposely do something to be divisive. In this particular situation, the only division came from this here. People want to see us get along. We have a board of 7. People want us to get along, make good decisions on behalf of the community. They do not want to see us up here bickering. I did not purposely say anything to be divisive. I have an email from a resident that I would like to read. He said, "Dear Madam President, I'm curious as to what your position may be on data centers. There is much open space around the village, and while you may not hold jurisdiction over that area, we more than likely are a target for placements of the centers. Before I try to present a case against the presence of data centers, I'm requesting to know the village's policy or opinion on such developments. Thank you for your time, and may you and your family be blessed on the coming holiday. To that email, so we had a resident, he was scared that our village board, like some of the others, was gonna put data centers all over the place. I was able to refer him to that press release and can refer other people to that press release. It gave the situation, the background, what we can do about it, and just informed. So there were no threats, like nobody is debating, nobody's coming after trustees, there was no other division. It's just facts.
So I encourage FOIA on the 7 emails you sent to me because there were some threats on that. You also...
There was absolutely no threat.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. You saying, one, I'm telling you right now, you never asked me why I put that on the agenda. I read why I put it on the agenda to what I said to Scott, and it said when it has our names on it. When it has our names on it, that is where I have an issue. And I think every trustee, if something comes out with our name on it and it's something substantial,
that's all.
And that is what my comment has always been. I have never said anything else to you. I in fact sent one email to the 7 emails you sent me that said, I think you're confused. You never asked me, why did you put it on there? You said, in fact, is our attorney here?
Yeah.
Did you in fact do what what President Stilwell asked and do a deep dive into this?
A deep dive into this? So I didn't draft the press release.
No, I'm talking about this discussion item.
Oh yeah, if you want to talk about the discussion item, yeah.
Did you itemize the cost on it?
No.
That you did?
I have not. In terms of this discussion today?
Yes.
No. Like in terms of looking at the cost list, no.
Okay, because President Stilwell had
Right.
said that she wanted it itemized for a discussion today on whether or not we can have a press release that's coming from the village president without our names on it.
So here's the legal function according to state statute of the mayor, okay, is to be the chief executive officer of the corporation. So as a chief executive officer, she is going to make statements in that sense. The board has a legislative capacity to set policy and review decisions in that regard. So with that, I mean, the question was, you know, it also gets into First Amendment rights. I mean, if we get into at a higher level discussion, if we're looking at the village social media policy right now, looking at the village social media page, I believe this is, and I'm just confirming, Madam Clerk, you're the one that maintains that, right? What you get into is creating what it's called a designated public forum. As a governmental body, we have to. This is a designated public forum where people can come and make comments in that sense. We can place time, manner, and restrictions on how to do that. But as far as the content is concerned, it has to be content neutral. And that's what we actually do with the state, the website. I'm sorry, real quick.
I'm not asking about content.
Well, I'm just saying for Facebook, you asked me to look like what we looked into.
Yeah.
So as far as the application of the social media policy on our website and social media, we are following basically what the Constitution requires. The question was, can we do, it says, there is discussion about comments made in social media in general. If it's not the village's page, then it's everyone's First Amendment right to make comments in the community or in other pages in that sense. So in terms of compliance, legally, the chief executive officer can make statements on behalf of the village. That's what the mayors are elected to do. And then 2, in terms of Facebook or social media, as long as our website is in compliance with First Amendment law, again, it's a designated public forum, we're not restricting content, we're in compliance with the law.
Right, and previous administrations have said, if they're putting a controversial thing out and it has all of our names on it, remove our names. I don't have a problem with you putting out from President Stilwell. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with what you have in the content and you doing that. I know you have a right to that. But if you put something out and it has my name attached to it, then I do think we need to discuss it because it affects every single one of our trustees because our name's on it. And we're going to have people calling us saying, hey, your name's on this, did you back I didn't even get to look at it. I have no idea.
Heidi, before this meeting today, I told you that we leave our names off. You have that in email. I told you that this was going to create unnecessary drama. And what happened? We have unnecessary drama. Your name will not be on future press releases, I assure you. And you could have simply asked that in the first place.
Not after you could have simply asked what I meant, or you could have read the statement that I sent to Scott, which it was clear in, or they wouldn't have had the template, felt that. But instead, you went on social media and you attacked me.
No, I did not attack you.
You thought my request of having this removed, which you don't have a problem with, but yet you still felt it was completely unnecessary and inflammatory, and it was an unwarranted overreach to say, can we have a guideline? Because when you set something out with all of our names on it, can you please take our names off unless we have some input on it?
If that was all your request was,
That's
you could
what
have
it was.
emailed and said, take our names off future press releases.
You had already...
If that wasn't you, the two of you, Thanksgiving week, spent the week saying it was hate speech, unsafe, all of these other items.
Absolutely not. FOIA the emails. I have my emails, I stand by them.
President Stillwell, can I bring up a comment? I brought up a similar issue earlier this year when the previous village president sent out a mailer that looked like a press release or a campaign piece. And I do think we need to look at our social media posts and our press release positions, ordinance, because I think it does need to come before the village board. The village president is a spokesperson for the board, but, and I supported what was read this time, but in the spring, there was a piece sent out with all our trustees' names on it, but it looked like a campaign piece, and we had no review of that piece, and I thought that was totally inappropriate. So as much as I side with you now, I think it's something for in the future, because the village, fortunately, I think the board gets along better now, and maybe it did better than last time because I was on the other side. But I think there's statements that could be said by a minority of the board if if a majority is opposed to something, but the minority, including the village president, speaks something, they could send out a press release making it sound like it is the entire village position, which it's not. So I think we need to get some type of review.
A mailer and a press release are two entirely different things. A press release comes out to give information about an item that is, something is happening acutely. So in this case, the Kaylin case was dismissed. So the press release came out to answer, we were getting a lot of questions. Why can't the village do something differently? What is the village going to do now? What options do we have? All of those sort of questions were being answered. So if it is a press release, the village president can issue a press release. And those things are time sensitive. If it's a mailer,
yes, okay,
it's gonna cost
maybe.
money. It costs money to produce, it costs money to mail. Of course, we would get board input.
Maybe that's the difference, and maybe we need to put that in an ordinance, because in the past it has not been in that position, and I want to prevent something like what happened in the springtime happening again, and maybe this sort of brings it to head where we need to put it more in a formal process and outline when a press release should be sent out by the village president because it is time sensitive and there are a lot of inquiries. So
I don't exactly understand what you're asking. So you want, I don't
I'd like an ordinance that would differentiate between a press release and a mailer, and when a press release is appropriate and when a mailer should come before the rest of the board. Because you stated it very articulately, but somebody else might take exception to it and do what was done in the past.
What is this outrage during Cohen's administration? Wow.
So I'm just trying to prevent things that happened in the past from happening again.
That's what I'm trying to do. I mean, like I said, I spoke up in July, and I did not like the one release that went out without board approval.
So just to clarify, the July release you're referring to, is that the social media post from Jen Coden called The Benefits of the Grove to the Village. So that persuasive piece you're comparing to a press release?
I'm saying something that was released under the village board, as if the entire village board put it out, should not be released if it's something substantial, controversial, unless the village board has a look at it. And everyone on the village board, I believe, agreed with that. Sean, you agreed with that.
Things speculation.
This,
Okay.
Total
So-
speculation on the numbers. Sorry.
So if we discuss as a future discussion item or ordinance, clarifying that village board names will not appear on press releases and the village board is to approve mailers, that's what you mean?
Yeah,
Because we-
maybe we have to look into it deeper. Maybe there's more items to
Because
break
Tracy
down.
sends out routine mailers. Is that, Tracy, would that be an issue if you had to get board approval for every mailer?
I don't think we're looking at routine mundane stuff. I
Yeah.
think we're looking at substantial or potentially controversial items, like I have stated.
That's hard to define.
But, yeah, a position.
Thank you for coming
Yeah.
together as a community, that helps. The divisiveness of taking names
A
off.
position, when the village is taking a position, I think it needs to be reviewed.
There was no position taken in this press release, so I'm not exactly sure the ordinance. Are you understanding the ordinance or are they way to draft?
This is the simple functions of government. There's going to be individual decisions made by people that work for the government. The question is, the board is not supposed to get into the details and the micromanaging of things. So for example, communications, if the clerk is sending out communications for street cleaning, like something the most mundane. It's a spectrum of how involved is the board going to get involved in these individual decisions. Obviously, I don't think the board really wants to get involved in street cleaning discussions. Well, what's controversial? And how do you define these various matters? And, the other question too is, you're right in terms of responding to things quickly. A quarterly newsletter is different than press release in that regard. So how to define when the board wants to get and have a review of decisions, that's the question thing. And then how do you, questionable thing, and then it's also how do you invoke that in terms of, the board meeting is twice a month. It's basically taking board action outside of official board channels if you are to intervene in these certain circumstances. So it just gets into a legal question. And like I said before, the chief executive officer is the mayor. The mayor can, as an elected official, and the chief executive officer can make statements on behalf of the corporation. That's part of the elected official duty. So I'm not sure how you can create a function of the board to intervene in controversial decisions, like how that would actually work.
Right, especially since I don't think the press release would qualify as controversial. The one line everyone seemed to be upset about was the contracts were signed by the previous administration, which to me was background. I don't see how that's controversial. It's a fact. And if you were a part of signing them, then you support that anyway. So I'm not sure why it's controversial. If you didn't sign them, you weren't even a part of that. So to me, that wasn't meant to be controversial. It was background.
Discussing on the content on that, and I would be glad to do that at another time. That's a different discussion item. I have no problem with you releasing press releases. Just take our names off of it.
The names will be off.
And that's
Future
all
press release.
my agenda item was about.
Is it, sorry, Heidi.
Oh, no, that's,
So in the packet, there is a potential press release format. Is everybody on board with us using that in the future?
I have
Just looking for
no problem with that.
Yeah.
Yes, I was kind of surprised that we didn't have it already.
All right.
And there is, there's elected level and then there's staff level, and we don't have any staff level. And I know we were just talking about it, but I guess my question is everything through the administrator that staff puts out there?
No, not necessarily. Chief puts out press releases, and there's social media posts that come potentially from Public Works about street cleaning or plowing issues. So no, it would be department head level. That I don't think it's as often that necessarily there would be one from community development, but if there was, say, a lot of questions about fence permits or something, Danny could definitely put something out about that. Or if there were a new ordinance passed, perhaps if we did a press release about the updates that are coming for building code, that Danny would draft something like that, but I would review them and discuss them, but sometimes with the police ones, that's the incidents on the weekend and it's put out on the weekend and chief sends it to me, about the same time everybody else gets it and we trust him to put those out.
I mean, when you have somebody hit by a car and died and he's looking for information, I mean, I get that.
Yeah, I don't want to be a bottleneck on chief getting information to our residents about an incident.
And I think formatting this press release form is an excellent way to have for our press releases, and there are other modifications to it that could be made. I mean, we all run the situation where we represent all the taxpayers of the village of Sugar Grove, and there are many that aren't even legally entitled to vote. There's businesses, Jules, Producers Chemicals, Scott Industries, Culver's, Walgreens, they go on and on and on. They're never even legally allowed to vote. So it is a balancing situation that we have to look at everybody and things that cover those people as well. Also the community is large, so at large, and try to make things that work for everybody. So I think we covered the basic part about the village letterhead and have an excellent press release format here. So, I mean, we did receive email from other residents that were not happy with the information, the way it was presented, and so there are other sides to that. So I think that having a discussion about something in the public is a good thing to do. So obviously we can talk individually because we're locked into 2 people at a time. But to discuss it, to say, oh, what Sean's opinion of it, Heidi's, or anybody else's is really kind of the only way to do it. And some points we will disagree and some points we won't. So I think the goal is to talk about it and figure out what we want and how we want the village to move forward, and a little bit each time. And that's what we're doing. I mean, we've got budgeting coming up. That's going to be another large discussion. There could be differences in that too. So I think the goal is to talk about it, figure out what the general consensus is, and when I see something like this, I think it's great. And so.
All right, so we will change the format of the press release letterhead. Is there any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we will move on to staff reports. We have Scott Koppel, administration.
Nothing to add, but happy to answer questions.
All right, Danny Marion in community development.
I would just add that Jiffy Lube did receive a temporary CO yesterday, so if they didn't open today, they will be opening shortly for business.
Thank you. Chief Rollins, Police Department.
Starting next Monday, I'm happy to announce that we have 2 brand new officers starting with our department. Officer Jasmine Rivera and Officer Marissa Lugo will be attending the Police Academy starting in January.
Thank you. Brad Merkel, Public Works.
Excuse me, nothing to add.
All right.
Did they get the paving done on the path?
They did, the 22nd of November, that Saturday. And they actually got the striping done too.
Oh, fantastic.
Trustee Lundy.
I attended the library board meeting on the 19th. You can now get library cards online. You can get license plate renewal stickers at the library as well. There's a lot of Holiday in the Grove activities going on. Kane County Forest Preserve, Trek with the Naturalist is on the 6th at Foyer Landing Forest Preserve in Elgin, and Twigs to Trees is a program on the 9th at 4 p.m. at Creek Bend Nature Bend in St. Charles. I also wanted to say, with the recent social media posts and comments, I wanted to remind everyone that we need to be careful in how we say things on social media, especially in this political environment. Rhetoric of me trying to silence President Stilwell's right to free speech was not only grossly incorrect, but spawned a social media comment that implied that I'm a domestic terrorist. This is all because I requested a discussion item to be added to the agenda. I caution everyone to get the facts before you post.
Oh, did I go for
And be careful what and how you say things. We are one community and need to treat each other with respect. We should not be afraid of or try to prevent open discussions. Different ideas and opinions make us stronger. And as long as we discuss the ideas respectfully, we'll be a better, stronger community.
Let's see your leadership in doing so. Thank you.
Trustee London.
She said trustee.
Oh, I couldn't hear you. Sorry, nothing to report.
Okay. Trustee Special.
Just want to send kudos out to the Public Works crew and police department and everybody that is a part of taking care of our first large snowfall of the season, so.
That was the last 2 years.
Yeah, so good job to everybody. I know it takes a lot of time and effort to coordinate all that and get it all taken care of, so thank you.
Trustee Michael.
Nothing to report.
All right. Trustee Bonnie and Trustee Roscoff are not here this evening. For President's report, the number one thing I feel that Sugar Grove is missing in terms of businesses is a hotel. We have residents asking all the time because we really don't even have Vrbo's, Airbnbs. There's no hotel no standard hotel within the village boundaries. I was able to find a hotel developer. He actually drove out to the area. He really liked it. It's not the greatest economic environment for hotels right now, but he was asking for further information. He's looking for a hotel feasibility study or a market impact study. So together with the EDC and Scott, that's something we'll be looking into, is possibly obtaining a hotel feasibility study, so then we can get him and other hotel developers information and hopefully at some point in the next few years bring that to our community. That's one of our goals.
President Stilwell, I thought the village did one about 10 years ago, so I don't know if the community development has any records of it or not.
I can look into it to see. It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I think Becky had tried to locate it as well and wasn't able to, but I think due to the age, I think that may have to be updated because it's changed quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, it'll give a good foundation to start from.
I definitely don't want to spend a large amount of money on a study like that, and that's why we look at additional sources of funding like the EDC or potentially even the Kane County EDC to see if we could all come together to bring something like that.
Yeah, maybe the Aurora Tourism Council could help
That's a good
out.
idea too. There's no executive session this evening. If we could have a motion and a second to adjourn.
Make the motion to adjourn.
We have a motion from Trustee Michaels. Is there a second?
Put in a second.
And a second from Trustee London. If we could have roll call, please, Trustee.
Trustee Michaels? Aye. Trustee London?
Aye.
Trustee Lundy.
Aye.
Trustee Special?
Aye.
All right, the meeting is adjourned at 7:24 p.m.